HiSec Buyback offers a 90% JITA anywhere in HiSec. Simply go to hisec.evebuyback.com, appraise your items, create a contract, and get paid quickly.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Talking in Stations. I'm your host, Rahne. I'm joined by our engineer, Nick, who will be off screen but pressing all the buttons. Then we have our glorious Arsia Elkin. Hi, Arsia.
Hey, Rahne. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
I'm good. How have you been?
I've been all right.
I know you've probably had a busy weekend because your team actually passed through the Alliance tournament trial rounds, feeder rounds. I don't know what you call them.
Not the entire feeder tournament, but the first round. We went 1-1 on Saturday, and the people that beat us beat the people that we beat, so we are advancing as well.
Okay.
So there's a couple more matches to get through in order to actually get through the feeders into the AT proper. But yeah, it means I have to wake up early next weekend too.
Well, that's exciting. I will be watching those, so I am looking forward. You were the one team I was like super cheering for. All the others I was like, okay if they win, okay if they lose, but yours was my number one.
So every team in a militia has advanced so far, because Pizza beat Snuff and they went 1-1 and they advanced. Usher Khan is still alive and Sound is still alive.
And I know Pizza is with
percussive Pizza Time, not the old alliance,
not the
but
generation of Pizza.
But there's
Galente.
They're a Galente militia alliance based around Flie.
Okay.
And they're still alive. They're really nice people.
Yeah, Urshikan is also Minmatar, just like EM, which EM used to be.
Sound is also currently in the Minmatar militia.
Okay.
They've recently joined it.
So kicking off the talk with Alliance tournament stuff, but really what we want to talk about is the militias and faction warfare, because this past week, it's actually the past couple days, TCP has released both a stream and a couple devs blogs, as well as a couple patches related to faction warfare. Do you want to talk us through that? I don't know, to maybe catch folks up in chat who maybe weren't paying attention.
All right, so there's an event running that is going to be maybe like the first of its kind of precursor to the changes going in faction warfare, and like the first goal that the empires have given their loyal pilots to go out and secure. And this is something that both militia and non-militia people can participate in to an extent, though militia people have an advantage. For the Amar, there's different activities for the two sides, the two like war zones. So the Amar and the Minmatar have in a certain constellation near the system of Turner right now, which is the constellation of Turner, Euclid. There are data sites. So they're gated with the restrictions of a novice complex. That means frigates, faction frigates, and pirate frigates can enter. And there's little cans for you to hack in these sites. And there's NPCs belonging to the side that owns the system, so either Amara or Minmatar. And they don't attack their friendly militia, but they'll attack anybody else. And if you hack these cans and get the little encrypted stellar data tokens inside of them and bring them back to a certain system, depending on what side you want to support, and turn them in to a beacon in space, you get loyalty tokens and can buy blueprint for the new ships that are coming out. So like, let's say if you want to support the Minmatar, you get your stellar data tokens from the hacking sites. You bring them to AMO, which is a high security system on the edge of the war zone in Minmatar space. And there's a beacon in space. You warp to there, and then there's like a little object that you can access via the right-click menu and deposit the tokens into that and get loyalty tokens back. You can then use those at the Tribal Liberation Force LP stores to get blueprints for the Fleet Probe and the Fleet Cyclone. For the Amar, their system is Mihator, also a high-sec system on the edge of the war zone in Amar space, and it's the same thing where they have a beacon in space. You deposit the tokens and can get the fleet prophecy, the battle chicken, and the fleet magnate. For the Galente and the Caldari, they have a bit of a different activity. They have a mining-based activity. In the constellation of Athenon, there are mining sites. The constellation of the system of Athenon. I'm not sure exactly what that constellation is called, but it's the constellation where Athenon is in. Athenon being the system that had the events going on recently in that war zone. But there's these mining sites that have certain kinds of ore. There's 2 different kinds of ore. The Galente need moissanite, and the Caldari need polycrase, however you say it. But you bring these once again to certain high-sec systems on the edges of the war zone and deposit them for tokens of loyalty to that faction, and can get the ships for them as well.
Do you know exactly how many tokens you need to be able to get a blueprint? Like,
all right, so the Explorer one is 150 tokens, and the Battle Cruiser is 1,500 for the blueprint.
That's so many. So, like, if I were to hack data sites, I'm thinking from my perspective because I fly with the Minmatar, how many data sites would I need to hack? Is it like, do I have to hack 150, or would it just be a couple and it amplifies it?
You don't have to hack 150.
Okay.
But like, it does take a bit. It's not like it does take, like, especially if you're trying to get a battle cruiser. Like, we saw some people getting the exploration frigates on the first day, so they're not that bad.
Alrighty, that's pretty interesting then. I did not realize, like, that's, like, thinking about it, like, I figured that's really easy, especially if you're kind of solo, right? You go in solo mine or you go in solo hack, kind of dodge some people, get your stuff. Like, that seems pretty straightforward.
Well, of course, there's always people looking to kill you. You do have an advantage if you're in the militia of the people who own the system that you're entering the site in, because then the NPCs don't attack you, which make things easier, especially on the Amar Minmatar side, where you have a gated complex and you have like descan, and you can hopefully get in and get out before somebody pops up and kills you.
Have there been reports? So I'm thinking, like, if Minmatar hold the space and Minmatar folks are going in and doing the sites being protected by the NPCs, are the Minmatar like killing each other, or the Mar, or anything like that? Like, is there
so there is a big penalty for AWOXing in another militia member. There might be some, because there are definitely people gaming the system and like making alts, because you don't have to, you can technically turn it into whoever you want after you get it, right? There are definitely a lot of alts that just popped up just to avoid fighting NPCs. Additionally, and I didn't mention this before, but the sides are racing to fill bars of progress, like progress bars, each of the sides. And these bars fill by people turning in the tokens. They also fill by a certain amount every day that the militia holds a certain system, depending on which side it is. Right now, for the Amar Minmatar, that system is Turner in Utility, where the stellar transmuter has gone online and is harvesting the sun in that system. And whoever holds that system right now gets a big chunk of points every day. For the Galente Caldari, it's Athenon itself. And a big chunk of points every day is generated by holding that system.
Yep.
What was that Amar system again?
Turner.
TURNUR.
Yeah.
It's released in the dev blog, so I remember CCP kind of highlighted some of this of, hey, which side do you want to fight for, kind of the objectives.
The Amar and the Minmatar have 2 other stellar transmuters within the war zone in Vard and Egmar, but right now Turner is the one that's active, and we can only assume that the other 2 are going to activate at some point, and over the course of this event. And yeah, so holding these systems is big. So it's something that everybody can participate in, but militia people have a leg up and like a second way to participate in it based on the system control of the key system.
That's super cool. And I've actually been to Turner. I think what was it, Friday night? I was actively flying around in the space looking at things, and it was pretty neat because you can see the giant laser beam kind of pointing at the sun, and it cracked me up because there was one, I don't think there were any stations in system, but there was one citadel, and it was literally titled Freeport to watch the sun explode.
Freeport to watch the sun explode is in Vard.
Yes.
That's
and
in
so
Vard.
that's what it was, not
Yeah.
Turner, so it was Vard.
Yeah.
So Vard does have stations. But
so this whole thing comes from something that happened that players actually did. Back during the invasions, there was an Amar system of whatchamacallit. It's like one of our biggest systems, and I'm totally like Arshat, where it fell into first liminality, which means the Triglavians won the first side, the security status dropped, and the star started being harvested. But before it got to final liminality, Edencom players from all 4 of the empires came in, and we pushed it up over the course of many, many hours straight, back up through liminality, back into the Edencom redoubt, and made it a fortress. So Amar got their hands on the stellar transmutation technology from something players did, something players hoped would go to Concord, or at least the non-Amar players hoped would go to Concord, as like a way of reverse engineering it to fight the Triglavians in Patran, or at least reverse what had happened in Patran. But it looks like the Amar just kind of stole the technology and are doing some sketchy things with it, which is kind of yikes.
it's interesting though that like it seems like this is the result of like how many years of like player stuff, player effort too.
Arshat happened in 2020, right?
So 2 full years later.
It was literally the system before Niarja that tired us all out before Niarja popped, which was also oof. Yeah, so like this story is directed kind of off of the backs of what players have done, an extension of what players have done. So at least on that side, it's interesting. In the Caldari Galente war zone, there was like a structure that had appeared, and it was like decloaking cloak. It was like an Edencom structure. And then there are all those little pieces of video and stuff that were found that players put together to make a full video of something that had happened on the station, I believe. So like it's all really interesting. The events that have led to what's going on in both of the war zones right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, curiosity question. So this event just came out. So we had maybe like 3 days to like kind of farm these tokens to get these blueprints for these brand new ships. I know there's been a lot of talk from people who have been like dying to get some new ships and wanting to see what they can do. Is this really the only way you can do it for now? Like, do you think it will change in the future? Does CCP take the blueprints and put them somewhere else, or will it always be with something related to faction warfare sort of event sites?
I mean, these are like Navy ships. I would be very, very surprised if any like Navy ship was released that didn't end up in like LP stores of the faction. Like you have to assume it's gonna be faction, like the militia LP stores. after, and this is like early access. Like that's my assumption, at least.
All right. I mean, I'd assume so too, but I wanted to hear your take because I feel like you're more in tune with a lot of how these events go. So for those of you, so for me, like I'm excited for this faction warfare stuff, but I know there's been events in the past where I didn't care to do them.
I mean, these aren't like AT ships, right? Like these are
Yeah.
these are some like nice Navy cattle bruisers and fleet explorers. The fleet probe is especially interesting to me because the description has an old joke from like the RP community in it that kind of memes on me. It's very subtle.
Do you want to share?
So the end of the description says like the fleet probe is, it's something like the fleet probe is equally capable of hacking hacking a node or bursting open the hull of a diplomatic shuttle. And there's a long-standing joke of Arsia killing council diplomatic shuttles that goes back to the invasions.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it when CCP throws those references. Like not only is the entire event like kind of built on the backs of players and the decisions they've made, but also items that they throw into the game make reference to players and their decisions. So I love it.
That shuttle had it coming.
Yeah. Which is funny because diplomatic shuttles, the ones you want to blow up, are actually similar. Like you were talking, like these are new ships, so they'll end up in the LP store. But diplomatic shuttles are more like AT ships, where you can't get them in game. You can only really get them as gifts from CCP.
Yeah, but they get given out often enough. Like every time there's like voting season for CSM.
Yeah, that
like
and like
when I got elected for CSM 17, we PDS'd like 100 of them. So like they're not AT ships, right?
they're not, but you can't as a player get them from means in game. It has to be a gift from CCP, which is always interesting to me.
Well, I mean,
like,
so is like the Gnosis, right? But
the Gnosis, the Prax.
But we get them so often, it's kind of like whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun though. Like just having that element from things, and like I feel like nobody complains about them. Although, is it the shuttle and the Gnosis because they don't have a blueprint? They don't have insurance costs based on minerals, so the insurance.
Yeah, even like the Praxis is like 1-isk insurance, right? Because it's like a titanium as their build cost.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so this event has just come out. People can participate. You described how they can participate. So then what happens next, right? Like we know it sometime, I think it was November, that we were going to start getting like the new faction warfare update. Do you think these sort of events and the decision when players supporting one faction or the other will impact that?
I think that these events will impact different things. They won't. I don't expect. I can't say for certain, but I don't expect that like the changes that have been shown are going to be different depending on the event, that like the outcome of the event. But there might be stuff that you don't get on one side or another that come out of the event that are stuff that hasn't been revealed. It's not going to be like the gate building event where all 4 gates were guaranteed eventually, right? This is one or more empire might fail to meet their goal, and there might not be a thing that could have come. And that's kind of what CCP has been saying about this.
I remember somebody giving feedback, like they watched the stream, and it was something about like if you controlled a system, you could control the stargates. Is that kind of what you're hinting at, or is that something like also completely different that might also result from this event?
Pretty sure I heard in the CCP stream that when they were talking about it, that if one side controls a structure or whatever on the faction warfare, where that
that's what I talked about with like Turner being controlled, and you get a lot of points towards the thing.
Okay, never mind. That must be something. Someone mentioned to me gates, but I could be thinking of something.
Well, that's with the Caldari Galente side. There's gates being built to Athenon from the Caldari Galente war zone.
Well, Kaldari Galente built the gates, whereas Mimitar and Mar are blowing up the sun. Or
More or less, yes. That is a good enough
okay.
explanation for the layman.
For some reason, I was thinking of like, you remember the time where the people were like, player built stargates or the stargates could turn off sort of thing. I thought that was making a comeback, but that sounds like something different.
But yeah, there are gates like for Kaldari space, for example. There's a gate in Samanuni that was seen to have started being built, and this is for that gate. People were able to tell it was pointing straight at Athenon since it first popped up. So this is very much not so much like it's a little bit of a surprise exactly what the activities were, the exploration and the mining, but it's not a surprise that it's like, oh look, we need to support these gates that have mysteriously popped up and people saw, right?
Yeah. And so then when you're talking about the event not having everything guaranteed, that could be like, so like if Mimitar wins, they get something when they harvest the sun, versus like Lente, if they win, they get the control of the gates or whatever it may be. And so that's kind of what you're talking about when
Like,
you're nothing's guaranteed.
My own read on this, and this is not based on any fact or word of law, but like my own interpretation of stuff that it has that's public knowledge from like the stream, it's that there'll be a certain window in which the bars can fill, and I don't think it's going to necessarily strictly be one side wins, one side loses, but like both sides might eventually complete the thing, but one might do it faster. But or like neither side, it's possible neither side completes a bar. But right now, the Kaldari and the Amara are doing very good in the Warzone in their bars, right? So I would be surprised if they didn't, because the Kaldari especially are really, really pushing that up fast.
Yeah, I saw lots of talk of like how one-sided it is, but I feel like that's always kind of been a thing with faction warfare, and I'm hopeful that maybe with the new update, like once the new faction warfare revamp actually comes in, there's an incentive to help the losing side be on board.
I think it was, my personal take is it was a mistake to not have allegiance first before going into this, but like we have what we have, not what we want. So there's still a lot of positives about the event, and I'm glad that there's a way for people to participate, even if they are not in the militia, and they can support a side they want to.
Yeah, I've heard because I think CCP said the allegiance system wasn't coming out till after 2023 or after like the new year. So like the fact that they're giving at least some unaffiliated players something for now is good.
Yeah, I really stress that the allegiance system can't come fast enough. It is, in my opinion, something that is going to really, really help get ships in space in that area of the game.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. Like I've always flown in faction warfare, but I've never I've participated a little bit kind of in faction warfare mechanics, and I'm just excited for something new where it's like new and exciting. And I experienced that Friday, right, with all like the resurgence of faction warfare and everyone flying out to kind of do this event. It's been just amazing just to like find random people that you don't really know, and you just team up and go and fight the bad guys of whatever faction or whoever. And it's super, super. That's always been fun to me.
It's definitely an experience unlike almost anywhere else in EVE, and I think a lot more people would participate in it if they didn't have to leave the group of friends they have to do so.
Yeah, for sure. I know. So Dorian in chat is saying it's frustrating that you can only enlist for one faction on one character or on a character. Do you know if that's going to change with the allegiance system, where you can assign your loyalty to say you're both Qadari and Almar, so you can fight for both, or is that kind of
so? I doubt that that's going to happen. But if you are in, for example, the Kaldari militia, you can also go to the Amar war zone. You're allied with the Amar militia, and you can capture plexes there. The only thing you can't do is you can't shoot an iHub for your allies. So like
Yeah.
I'm currently in the Minmatar militia, and I am friends with some of my gal pals over in the Galente war zone, right? And
I love that name.
sometimes I show up and I hang out with them for an evening or so, and I can run the plexes. They're still purple on my screen. There is a difference in that they can AWOX you and not lose standing, but that's rare enough that it's not the giantest deal, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think too, because I know I've had this happen a lot on my main, where if I fly in faction warfare space, I fly as a pirate, so I don't align with anyone. I just shoot whoever, get those honorable 1v1s, but I still lose standing. Is there a way to easily recover that standing? So let's say I've done that on my main so much that Amar hate me forever. Is there a way to easily kind of redo that, or is that kind of that slow grind of?
As of
Yeah.
right now, the easiest way is via the factional warfare missions. And you can like have somebody who has access to level 4 fleet up with you and run them and share the reward. Like you can cheese the mission system. Like the missions are the most broken thing in the world, and you can cheese them in that way too.
Gotcha.
But other than that, like if you can still enter the militia if you're in a corp that has people to offset your standing, right? So if you're like -10, if you're negative something with the MR and you don't want to grind the faction standing up to 0, so you can join the militia by yourself, you can join a corp that has other people that the corp standing offsets you and lets you get in. And then you can just do plexes, close plexes, or do missions to get it up, or you can have somebody with higher mission access share standing rewards for but that's only for the corp, the militia corp, not the factional like the faction, right?
Yeah. All right, so it's not end of the world, but it's just not convenient. I wish there was.
For example, remember Arsia was a traitor, so she was -10 with the TLF when I first joined EM, and it's really not the end of the world if you're in a group that can offset your standing.
Alrighty, that makes sense. So that's at least good news, because that was always like my big fear with some of this stuff was I join on one character and then I just get forever locked out of a certain space or whatever.
It's a pain in the ass if you're trying to do it solo, if you're trying to join solo, but
yeah,
joining solo is not the way anyway, right?
Eve is better with friends, as we all know.
Once the allegiance eventually comes out, we'll have to see how the standing works for pledging allegiance, because that'll be interesting, and you might very well be stuck in a situation where you have to do missions, and in that case, I suggest courier missions with like a Synesis, right? They go a lot faster than just for the pure point of mission grinding for standing.
All right, no, that sounds good. McGeneral in chat, is faction warfare something people do? We had literally 0 people leave our alliance to do faction warfare. Do you want to answer that one?
Factional warfare is certainly something people do. It's not surprising that you don't have many people in your alliance who do faction warfare, because right now an alliance has to enlist the whole alliance in order to join into it. Obviously, you could have had people who have done it in the past, but right now there are still people in both war zones. I think the Galente and Caldari war zone especially is really healthy right now because there's a lot of smaller groups on both sides that are all running around, but there's multiple alliances in every militia at the moment, even if some of them have a couple that are much bigger than the others.
Yeah, it's really easy to see if you just fly through faction warfare space. It's really easy to find people. Nick's asking, behind the scenes, how can the average pilot find or join a faction warfare corp? How does that work?
It's kind of the same way as joining any other corp. I would suggest, honestly, going to one of the war zones and running into them, right? Like getting blown up by them or something, or like there are discords for each of the 4 militias. There are forums and Reddit, and just looking for the large, like for Minmatar, there's like Ashra Khan. Sound has recently joined the militia. Then there's like Smile and Wave. Smile and Wave is like Russian TZ, a small group there. Minmatar is Amar is the largest group, is local, is primary, and then there's Red Sky Morning, and the one corp that's still in Inferior Edict. Caldari has like IRED and United Caldari Space Command, I think, or something like that. It's like United Caldari, it's something that Templis, and a number of other groups like that. Galente has percussive pizza time.
They're in the Alliance tournament too.
Yeah, pizzas, and the pizza guys are in the tournament. Just join find the Discord for the militia you're interested in, and talk to some of the people is probably the best way.
Yeah, and I think, as far as I'm aware, all the factions are pretty much the same. Like, the difference is the reward is LP, so you can only buy ships from that faction for like rewards from the LP. But otherwise, like, they're roughly all the same, right? There's no real benefit for one over the other.
I mean, it comes down to the ships. The militia LP is really good LP for all 4 of them. The ships are a lot cheaper than they are in like the generic mission LP stores. So like if you do missions for Emperor family in Amar, and you have a bunch of Emperor family LP, it costs you so much LP from them to buy a Navy Epoch. In the militia, it's like 250,000, right? Like it's not much, and you get it really fast. So you can get like faction ships a lot cheaper than anywhere else. That especially is one of the biggest draws of militia LP. But there's a lot of good things. But yeah, like all 4 of them are solid and similar. They're LP stores.
Yeah, and so I don't know if you'll know this, but Modern Inferno in chat is asking any plan to change the confusing nature of the LP store for this. I'm not sure if you would have any insight there.
If I had any insight, I probably couldn't say.
Alrighty. I mean, it could be something we could take to CCP too, or I guess you could take CCP.
From my personal perspective, there's a lot of LP stores. Like LP stores in general need to really be looked at, because some are really, really good and some are just complete dog shit. Like, why would anybody mission for the Amatar, right? Like any of the Amatar corps, because their LP stores are so bad, right? And there's a lot of like weird stuff. Like I think the need to like get like a billion tags for like whatever to get like a module is a giant pain in the ass and could be done better. I think LP stores in general need a giant overhaul, and that includes militia LP stores, just to make them easier to use and more user friendly.
Yeah, no, I agree too. I remember the first time I tried to use an LP store, I was so lost. But yeah, it looks like chat majority agrees with us too, so that's good to hear.
I feel like everybody in the game is going to agree with that. Like that's one of those. It's like one of those statements. Like, we like people in space. It's like there is nobody that's going to say no, right? Like, no, I actually want everybody docked so I can run my mission and not get ganked, right? Like there's gonna be like one guy who doesn't want anybody flying, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then Nick asked, because we were talking about corps that we could join. Is Fed Up still in Galente?
Fed Up is not in the Galente militia anymore.
Because I know for a while they established a place there, and then I think they left for
They left for null, right?
for null. Like they were part of Legacy, maybe, I think. Yeah. So I'm assuming. I guess, have you had experience trying to farm this new stuff with this new event? I guess we kind of touched on it, and then are just now talking generic faction warfare. So I'm curious. Have you tried the new event?
I'm gonna be honest. The last few days, it's AT practice, right?
Oh yeah, that's true too. That's probably why.
It's been AT practice for me.
Are you So I'm guessing this next week then, because you are also playing next week, and you're probably not going to give it a shot at all then, right?
I mean, I might have some time during the week. I have to see when our skirmishes fall. I know I am especially prone to burnout during tournament season. The one time I really burnt out and had to take a break from Eve was after the MR tournament. So I definitely do self-care during tournament season.
As you should, because I feel like tournaments, both from the organizer perspective and then the participant perspective, really cause burnout.
Oh, yeah, more so than like anything else I've ever done in Eve.
Alrighty. Sorry, chat's moving a little faster than I had hoped. It looks like just people sharing their stories. But yeah, I know I haven't done the event, but I've just been doing faction warfare stuff, and I've had a blast there. I'm probably gonna go give the event a try though. I don't know if my alts can use exploration stuff, so maybe I'll have to go and mine or something like that.
You can do the Caldari Galente side.
Yeah, gotta go help my gal pals, as you call them.
The gal pals, yeah.
Yeah.
Though if you're not in the Galente militia or the Caldari militia, depending on the system, the rats will shoot you.
They will. So, crap. I hate that.
But it shouldn't be too bad.
Maybe I'll do like I don't know. So everyone's talking about the history of Fed Up, but yeah, that's crazy. We've had a lot of alliances grow and die over the years. Like Shadow Cartel's back. I think Dead Terrorists were back for a while, but I haven't seen them active too lately.
Yeah.
They loved living in faction warfare space.
I remember one fight that we had. It was one of my first bigger fights. And you can find a Guardian Lost Mail from it on my kill board somewhere. I think it was in Arzad, where we attacked a Dread Terrorist POS and just got like devastated.
Yeah, they were a big group when they were still around. It was impressive.
Yeah, like we did not stand a chance.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I love faction warfare. Like, it's so much fun to me just flying in and shooting things. I'm really bad at it. I don't really know any of the I was asking folks because when you shoot the rat wrecks, and I was just like looting stuff, and I'm like, wait, am I stealing other people's loot? Because it would give me a suspect timer. So I was asking if I was being disrespectful. But they have oh yeah, sorry, go on.
There's been like a number of pretty hot systems lately, in both war zones, just with the normal faction warfare mechanics outside of the event sites. So if you're interested in, there hasn't been a better time for a long time. I would say dip your toes in, start making friends in the militias, start flying with them, and experience some faction warfare style PvP that you won't really see anywhere else in Eve.
Yeah, and it's easy to do too. So like, if you don't want to do it on your main because you're flying with a group of people and they don't really want to join you, just simply make an alt. Like my alt, I think has like less than 10 mil SP, but the SP I would need for it would just be like just a couple mil. So you can make a new account, a new character, whatever you need. Use your own referral link, go in and make and do that, and then it's really easy. You just like complete the tutorial if you want. You can skip it completely and then join, and then you can be instantly out there just doing stuff. Faction warfare is good, really good to make money, even if you're not actually flying with the faction too. You can salvage stuff, loot wrecks. People love to PvP and just leave stuff everywhere, and it's amazing for money.
The missions are also broken. If you want to make a lot of money, a lot of people exploit the missions. Because right now, as things stand at the moment, there's a tier system where the winning side gets big bonuses to LP, and farmers flip-flopping back and forth between the two sites, and manipulate LP values and make a killing on the missions when they're at like tier 4, tier 5. Hopefully the upcoming changes will nix some of that absurdness, but as things stand right now, it is very lucrative. I really hope that the reward gets pushed from out of those exploitable, kind of ridiculous missions into the fighting in the plexes.
Yeah, I would love that. I also heard, gosh, it's probably been quite some time now, but CCP even like nerfed some of the missions too in faction warfare, and they're still just crazy lucrative.
God, when Clamor X was a thing, it was the
Oh,
dumbest
yeah.
thing. Like, who thought that was a good idea?
Yeah, a lot of mission runners, especially burners, got messed up because of that. I know Garista's space is just now full of people because of those boosters and whatnot.
Garista's like Venal is just constant farm. You just see all of the like Dramiels and Kierans going around all the time.
Yeah, it's insane.
Right.
We do have a question from chat from Nick. He says, what kind of time do you need to participate effectively in faction warfare? As in, if someone only has an hour or two in the evening and more on weekends, like, can you still actively participate and contribute?
Yeah. So all of the militias usually have fleets up throughout the day. And if you want to participate in those and go to the hot systems and jump in fleet, they're going to definitely appreciate even if it's just an hour of your time. And even if you're in like a time zone that maybe your chosen war zone is a little quieter, even an hour of like you jumping in a frigate and going to a system and running a few plexes, like it adds up. And if you're not really looking to get involved in fighting for the system control and doing that way, you can always take advantage of the war deck part of it and roam around and find a few engagements with your hour in a way that you might not be able to elsewhere.
Yeah, for sure. I know, like, so back in my day or whatever, but like I did faction warfare as a pirate just to get fights. And I know sometimes I would loot the bodies or the corpses of the wrecks, and sometimes I wouldn't, but that's a really good way. You don't have to do anything really in faction warfare to go in and make money. We did have a question in chat from Lyson. He's asking about, are you running this under an alt heavy charger main? Can we do these sites if you have negative standing? So in order to do missions, you need the positive standing. But if you want to participate that way, you can join a faction warfare corp or alliance, and that will offset your negative standing. So that way you can start building that standing and like getting it out of the negative. Sorry, Arsia, you can go on. You were explaining this earlier.
No, you were totally right. In order to join faction warfare by yourself, you need positive standing with the faction. So like you can be negative with Tribal Liberation Force, but if you're positive with the Minmatar Republic, you can join. If you're negative with Minmatar Republic, you can't join by yourself, but you can join a corp. Exactly what you said. So you were right about that. With the new event, the current event with the data sites and the mining, you can participate even outside of militia, but if you're not in the right militia, the NPCs will shoot you. So you have to shoot them back.
Are these so like to defend yourself? Like let's say I'm building up a mining ship or something to go do this. Would it be quote unquote easy to defend myself in my barge, or would I need to like bring an alt to fight these rats? I'm thinking from the scale of the faction warfare plex rats are really easy versus like diamond rats, which are really hard.
They're stronger than the plex rats, which are just kind of like a do you have guns check, right? But I've seen the Amar Minmatar ones, and like you can run it with a frigate, but like that's novice gated. I honestly haven't gone and checked out what NPCs are in the mining sites in the Galactic Caldari war zone.
Okay.
So I expect it's not like mind crushingly difficult. Like I would expect a procure could do it. Like that would be my guess, but I haven't actually seen, like, because like a frigate can fight the data site ones. They're not like weak like the plex rats, but they're not like overwhelmingly death, right?
Yeah, like some of the event sites that we get, and people go in and just instantly die to like 20 scrams or whatever.
Yeah.
So definitely easier. So that's good to hear. That's a little more comforting.
I think, like in my opinion, the main point of them is to give you resistance and scram you, so you don't run off.
Yeah, I mean it's a way to do it so people don't like, what is it, bot it or AFK multi-box it sort of thing. But it also
Except they
allows.
just join the militia and do it anyway.
Well,
right?
there's that too, but at least say you can get caught out or caught by the enemies
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, I'm excited. I kind of want to go try these now. I'm like really excited for this. Nick, I know you've been typing questions. Did you have any more questions?
No, I'm good to go, ladies.
Arsia, I'm like running out of questions. Like I feel like we've covered a lot of this, but I'm excited for it. Oh, how long does the event last? Did CCP say? Was it like mid-October?
I don't.
It's got to end before the Halloween one.
Does it though? I mean,
I'm trying to remember.
Oh, I guess they could run two at once.
I mean, I would expect it to be a normal event length ? But I don't know.
Yeah, let me look up that. Oh, that's bad. When I type EVE Online Faction Warfare, and the first thing that comes up is EVE Union, not CCP stuff.
I don't think they've said the end date.
Oh, if there's no end date, I wonder if it's just like combining it all.
I think that they've said that there is an end date, but I don't think they've said what it is.
I wonder if that means that, like,
Well,
if there's no end date.
Yeah, it might not have a date of end, but it might be a matter of, did you accomplish the objective? Yes or no ends the event.
I don't think so, because you can fail it. You can definitely fail it. They've said repeatedly and publicly that you can fail it.
I don't see anything in the blog though. Interesting.
I think I know, but I don't know if they've said it publicly.
I haven't said it publicly, then don't share, because I don't see it.
I don't think they have.
Interesting. All right. So we have till sometime. I would assume mid-November, but not November, mid-October, but I'm not sure. This is confusing.
That's half the fun.
It is, but like some people don't like to rush, or they're busy. I would say we at least have like a week or two though. So like it started on what, Thursday, Friday? So we have until like at least the 7th.
Thursday.
Yeah, start on Thursday. So we probably have till like the 7th or the 14th.
So get out there and go mine and hack and be merry.
Yeah, shoot the bad guys, whoever those may be to you.
Maybe they're everybody. Like, I know there are definitely people just going and farming ventures in like Cloaky Lokis and shit. Just on both sides.
Just to prevent the bad guys from mining or whatever. That makes sense.
No, just preventing everybody from mining.
Oh, well, that's not very nice.
One of the Caldari role players put out an open bounty to any killed Galente miner, so you can actually claim on that.
That's easy money then for those folks.
Go and kill Galente miners, right?
All right, Arsia, anything else you wanted to add with this endless event, as we call it?
No, I think I've said everything.
Do you want to do any shout outs before you go? It doesn't have to be related to this topic, but it can be anything.
Shout out to everybody who lost points betting against us in the first match and betting on us in the second match during the AT. Right.
That's hilarious. My channel points, no.
No, like when we when we won that first match, the first thing I said on comms was we just lost a bunch of nerds some channel points.
That's the best, though. You always give points to the underdog. That's
Because
how
we
it
were
should be.
not the favorite that first match. And then we
that's
were the
okay.
favorite the second match and we lost. So we just lost a bunch of nerds some channel points.
That's the best, though. I'm glad you guys won. Huge congrats and good luck next weekend. But thank you to joining me today. I'm excited for this faction warfare update. I'm hoping to see some more folks out in space, especially those hanging in chat asking about it. If you see me, I'll be on my alt chocolate rain instead of rain chocolate, so you can come say hi and fly with me or whatever. We can shoot the bad guys. I don't know if Nick, do you have anything more you want to add before we dip?
Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, so this was I would say a later stream, so sorry to the Euro time zone folks or the folks who already went to bed who cannot view. It will probably be the same next week because the Alliance Tournament trials are still next week. I believe they go from, gosh, I want to say 1,500 to 2,200 or 2,100 again. So we'll probably do a delayed stream, and I might not actually be around next week Sunday, so I might have to have a sub come on. Maybe it'll be you, Arsia, and you can be the one to ask all the questions.
Don't apologize to the Europeans. They get all the CCP streams at perfect time.
That is true. That is why we have to have shows like this where I'm like, what happened? I was at work. I don't know what happened. But yeah, so thank you everyone for hanging out. I hope you have a good weekend.